The war was over. The battlefield was quiet. Human soldiers stood among the ruins of a fallen alien empire. Ships hovered above, and smoke still rose from the ground. Victory belonged to Earth. Now came the division of the spoils. Aliens captured during the war were lined up for judgment. Some were taken for information, others for labor or political gain. At the end of the line stood a girl, small, pale, and shaking. Her skin shimmered with a soft silver tone, and her eyes looked down at the ground, empty of hope. She was introduced by the alien translator drone. Velari, last of the royal blood. Weak, untrained, emotionally unstable, useless in battle. Commanders passed her by without interest. Some laughed. "She's no use," one said. "Just a scared girl pretending to be royalty." Then one human soldier stepped forward. His name was Cole, and he had been quiet through most of the selection. He looked at Velari for a long moment. She looked up just once, and their eyes met. He didn't see weakness. He saw fear and something buried deep behind it. Fire, pain, a question. "I'll take her," Cole said. The room fell silent. "You want her?" a fellow soldier asked. "She can't even stand straight." "She doesn't need to fight," Cole answered. "She just needs a chance." And with that, Velari was given to him. That night, in the human base camp, Velari sat alone in a corner of the room Cole gave her. She had food, clean clothes, and warm lighting. But she didn't speak. She didn't move much. Just sat with her knees to her chest. Cole didn't push her. He just left a plate of food near her and said, "Eat if you want. You're safe now." Hours passed. Then, finally, she reached for the food with shaking hands and took a small bite. Cole smiled quietly and went to sleep on the other side of the room. In the middle of the night, Velari whispered something in her own language. Cole didn't understand it, but the tone was soft, thankful. He didn't know what future lay ahead. He didn't know that the weak alien girl he chose, the one others mocked, was carrying a power older than most species in the galaxy. And he didn't know that this quiet moment would be the beginning of a story that would shake empires. Velari stayed quiet most of the time. She didn't speak much and avoided people, but she watched everything, especially Cole. He didn't treat her like a prisoner. He never shouted. He never forced her to do anything. Instead, he talked to her kindly, even though she didn't always understand his words. Each morning, he brought her breakfast. He made sure she had a blanket. He even gave her a small plant for her shelf, saying, "This one's tough. It grows even in bad soil." Velari looked at the plant for a long time. She didn't touch it, but she didn't look away either. One evening, Cole sat across from her. He placed 2 mugs on the table, one for him, one for her. "You don't have to be afraid here," he said softly. "No one's going to hurt you." Velari looked at him with wide eyes. Then, slowly, she pointed at herself and said one word, "Velari." Cole smiled. "That's your name." She nodded once. He pointed at himself. "Cole." She hesitated, then repeated, "Cole." It was the first time she had said anything clearly. The wall between them began to crack. Later that week, Cole noticed something strange. Velari was alone in the room, sitting with her hands outstretched, palms open. Small sparks of light floated above her skin, faint, flickering. When he stepped closer, they vanished. She looked embarrassed, scared. Cole didn't ask questions. He simply said, "It's okay." Velari looked down and whispered, "No, not okay." It was the first full sentence she had spoken. Cole sat beside her. "You don't have to hide. Not from me." She shook her head. "My people, they locked it away. Said I was broken. Because of your power." She nodded slowly. Cole leaned back. "Maybe they were afraid of what you could become." Velari looked at him sharply. "What I could become?" He shrugged. "Power isn't bad. What matters is how you use it." She didn't speak after that, but her eyes stayed on him. That night, she didn't sit in the far corner like before. She sat closer, still quiet, but no longer shaking. The next day, she surprised Cole again. She handed him a drawing, a simple one made from a stylus and scrap tablet. It showed two figures, one tall, one small, standing beside each other under stars. Cole smiled. "Is this us?" Villari nodded. "You gave me light." He didn't know what to say, but he understood. It was the first real sign. Villari was beginning to trust him. And deep inside her, something old and powerful was waking up, because for the first time in her life, someone saw her not as a burden, but as a person. Cole had seen many things in his life: space battles, alien beasts, and dying stars, but nothing surprised him more than the quiet strength growing inside Villari. She still didn't speak much, but her eyes told stories. She listened carefully, watched everything, and asked questions with simple words. She learned fast, too fast. One morning, while Cole worked on a broken drone, Villari sat beside him. He handed her a tool and said, "Wanna try?" She hesitated, then took it. Her hands were shaky at first, but she watched his movements and copied them exactly. In less than 10 minutes, she helped restart the drone's power. "Good job," Cole said with a grin. Villari looked at him, surprised. "I help?" "Yeah," Cole nodded. "You helped." A soft smile touched her lips. Later that night, Villari stood outside the base alone, staring at the stars. Her fingers moved slowly in the air, and once again, tiny sparks floated above her skin. This time, she didn't stop them. Cole stepped out quietly. "That your power?" She nodded. "It's small now, but it listens to me more than before." He sat beside her on the bench. "Why did your people call you weak?" Villari's voice was quiet. "Because I could not control it. When I was young, I burned part of our royal garden. My mother cried. My father was afraid. They locked the power inside with a seal. After that, I stayed hidden." Cole looked at her. "Maybe they didn't understand you. Power doesn't make someone dangerous. Fear does." Villari looked at him confused. He explained, "If you're afraid of yourself, you never grow. But if you learn and accept what's inside you, you become something stronger." She nodded slowly. "You think I can be strong?" "I think you already are," Cole said. "You just haven't seen it yet." The next day, Cole brought her to the training room. "I want to show you something," he said. He placed two small orbs on the floor. They began to move in random directions. "Try to stop them. Focus." Villari closed her eyes. Her hands trembled, but she took a deep breath. The orbs floated, then stopped midair. She gasped. "I did it." Cole smiled. "You did." She dropped to her knees, laughing softly. It was the first time Cole had seen her laugh. It sounded fragile, like something new. She looked up. "I want to learn more." "You will," he promised. That evening, she placed the drawing she had made earlier on the wall above her bed. But now she added something new, herself wearing armor. Her dream was changing, and so was she. Villari's training continued every day. She started waking up early, already waiting in the practice room before Cole arrived. Her movements grew sharper, more focused. She learned to fight with her body and mind, not just with her powers. Cole trained her like a soldier, but treated her like an equal. One day, during combat drills, she blocked one of his strikes and knocked him to the ground. She gasped, stepped back quickly, and reached out her hand. "I'm sorry." Cole laughed. "Don't be." That was a perfect move. Villari smiled, proud of herself. But she still felt something deep inside, something she didn't fully understand. That night, while resting in her room, Villari stood in front of a mirror. She looked at herself, no longer the scared, weak girl who had been offered as a prize. Her body was stronger now. Her mind was clearer, and for the first time, she didn't feel small. Then came the surprise. An alarm rang through the base. Red lights flashed. Cole rushed to her door. "Stay inside. We're under attack." But Valerie followed him. "I can help." "No," Cole said firmly. "You're not ready for real battle." Valerie didn't listen. She grabbed a short blade from the training rack and ran after him. Outside, the attackers were not aliens. They were mercenaries, hired by a powerful enemy who wanted to destroy any hope of peace. Blasters fired. Explosions shook the ground. Cole took cover and fought back. But he was outnumbered. Valerie saw him from behind a metal barrier. One soldier aimed at Cole from a hidden angle. Without thinking, Valerie raised her hand. A wave of invisible energy hit the enemy soldier, slamming him into a wall. Everyone froze. Cole looked at her, stunned. Valerie stepped forward. Her eyes were glowing, but not with rage, with control. "I'm ready now," she said. Together, they fought. Valerie moved with speed and force that surprised even the hardened human soldiers. She shielded others with her energy. She disarmed enemies with quick, smart moves. She didn't kill, but she didn't run either. By the end of the fight, the attackers had retreated. Valerie stood in the middle of the battlefield, breathing hard. Her arms were scratched, her armor dented, but she was still standing. Cole walked up to her. "You disobeyed my order." She lowered her head. But he added, "You also saved my life, and a lot of others too." Valerie smiled slowly. "Then I did okay." "You did more than okay," he said. "You fought like a warrior." From that day, the soldiers at the base stopped calling her weak. They started calling her the Spark. But this was only the beginning. After the battle, Valerie's name began to spread. Soldiers at the base started greeting her with respect. Some even asked her for help during training. She still spoke softly, but her presence was different now. Strong, calm, and full of quiet power. Cole noticed the change too. One evening, as they walked through the base, he said, "You're not the same girl I picked that day." Valerie looked at him. "I'm still her. But now, I believe I can be more." Cole nodded. "You already are." Later, during a meeting with High Command, something surprising happened. A human general brought up an ancient alien challenge known as the Trial of Blades. It was a ceremonial test from Valerie's homeworld, meant only for royals who wanted to become true warriors. "It's dangerous," the general warned. "It hasn't been completed in over a century." "I want to try," Valerie said, standing tall. The room fell silent. Cole stepped beside her. "She's ready." The general stared at Valerie. "You're serious?" Valerie nodded. "It's the only way my people will ever respect me. And maybe respect humans too." A few days later, the trial began. Valerie entered a massive training dome filled with holograms of 7 legendary fighters, each one stronger and faster than the last. She had to defeat them using skill, speed, and her energy control. No help, no breaks. Cole watched from the control room, his hands tight behind his back. The first 2 opponents were fast but predictable. Valerie moved with grace and confidence, dodging and striking with precision. The third one knocked her down. She got back up. The fourth disarmed her. She pulled a second blade and kept going. By the time she reached the 7th, her armor was cracked, her legs trembling, and her arms sore, but her eyes burned with fire. The final opponent charged at her, a towering warrior with twin swords. Valerie didn't run. She closed her eyes and let her energy flow through her body. The glow around her returned, not wild this time, but balanced. When she opened her eyes, she moved like a storm, fast, focused, unstoppable. With one final burst of force, she struck the hologram down. Silence. Then a soft chime. Trial complete. Warrior status achieved. Cole burst through the door and ran to her. You did it. Valerie smiled through her sweat and bruises. I'm not weak anymore. No, Cole said, proud. You never were. Word spread across the galaxy. The forgotten princess had passed the trial. And somewhere in the shadows, powerful enemies began to take notice. Valerie's victory in the Trial of Blades spread quickly across the galaxy. News channels from different planets showed clips of her fighting. Some called her the Reborn Warrior. Others called her the Flame of a Broken Empire. People who once laughed at her name were now speaking it with respect or fear. But not everyone was happy. Far away, in a dark space station, a former royal advisor named Luron watched the videos in silence. He had betrayed Valerie's family years ago to save himself during the collapse of the Empire. Now, seeing her rise again, he felt threatened. She was supposed to be nothing, Luron growled. She was supposed to stay weak. He knew if Valerie truly returned as a leader, she would uncover the truth about her family's death and his part in it. We need to stop her, he told his guards, before she becomes unstoppable. Back at the human base, Valerie was recovering from the trial. Her body was sore, but her heart felt stronger than ever. Cole walked in with a datapad. You've got visitors. Who? A group from your homeworld, he said. Some of your people. They're asking for a meeting. Valerie blinked. They came to see me. Cole smiled. Seems like they believe in you now. The meeting was held in a quiet room. 3 aliens stood waiting, 2 warriors and 1 elder woman. The moment they saw Valerie, they bowed. We watched your trial, the elder said. You carried the spirit of the old blood. Valerie nodded respectfully. Thank you. I am still learning. We wish to follow you, one warrior said. The empire is broken. The people are lost. They need a symbol of hope. Valerie looked unsure. I was never trained to lead. The elder stepped closer. You were trained by a human. That is what makes you different. You fight not for power, but for purpose. Later, as they left, Valerie turned to Cole. I'm scared. Good, he said. It means you care. Real leaders always carry fear. The brave ones move forward anyway. Valerie smiled. She didn't say it out loud, but she felt something deep in her chest, a calling. The next day, while preparing to visit her homeworld, a message came through. Cole played the audio. A deep voice said, Valerie, return now and kneel, or your people will fall again. She froze. Luron. You know him? Cole asked. Valerie nodded slowly. He was my father's advisor. He betrayed us. And now he fears what I've become. Cole stood beside her. Then let's show him what you've become. Valerie turned to him, fire in her eyes. No. Let's show him what we've both become. Valerie stood at the edge of the landing bay. Her ship was ready, weapons loaded, and her armor polished. She looked different now, taller, stronger, and full of quiet power. But her heart beat fast. This was the first time she would return to her homeworld since the war. Cole joined her, wearing his own gear. You sure about this? She nodded. It's time. As the ship lifted off, Valerie looked out the window at the stars. Her hands were steady, but her mind was full of memories. Her family, the palace, and the night everything fell apart. They arrived on the planet's surface a few hours later. Her world was no longer bright and rich. Cities were damaged, streets empty, and towers broken. Her people had been living in fear for too long. The people gathered slowly when they saw her ship. They stared in silence, unsure if she was real. Valerie stepped out in full armor. Her voice rang out, clear and calm. I am Valerie, daughter of the fallen king. I did not die. I did not run. I am here to stand for you. The crowd gasped. Then someone whispered, She's back. Another shouted, The princess. Then cheers filled the air. But their joy was short-lived. Moments later, warships appeared in the sky. Luron's fleet. He sent a message through the city's speakers. "Foolish girl, you brought a few soldiers. I brought an army." Valeri stepped forward. "Then let your army come. I will not run." Cole stood beside her. "Neither will I." Fighting broke out. Luron's soldiers dropped into the city, weapons blazing. But Valeri's people, inspired by her courage, joined the defense. Cole led a team of trained humans, moving with precision. In the middle of it all, Valeri moved like fire, her energy blasts knocking back enemy troops, her blade glowing in her hand. She fought not with anger, but with purpose. She faced Luron's top guard, a towering brute with heavy armor. He laughed when he saw her. "You think you can beat me, little royal?" Valeri didn't answer with words. She answered with a strike that shattered his weapon and sent him crashing to the ground. The people cheered louder. Her power was no longer feared, it was trusted. Above the city, Luron watched the battle turn. His face twisted in rage. "This isn't possible." Valeri looked up at his ship. "He hides, like before." She turned to Cole. "We go to him. Together." Cole loaded his rifle. "Let's finish this." Valeri's journey was not over. The girl once forgotten was now leading a rising world, and the final fight was just beginning. Valeri and Cole boarded a fast shuttle and flew straight toward Luron's command ship. Enemy cannons fired at them, but Valeri focused her energy. With a wave of her hand, she formed a glowing shield around the shuttle. The blasts bounced off harmlessly. Cole glanced at her. "Remind me never to fight you." She smiled slightly. "Then stay on my side." The shuttle crashed through the outer hangar of Luron's ship. Smoke and sparks flew, but both of them jumped out safely. They fought their way through guards in the corridors, Valeri using her energy strikes, Cole shooting with precision. At last, they reached the throne room. Luron stood waiting, wearing dark armor. His eyes burned with hate. "You should have stayed lost," he said. "You should have stayed loyal," Valeri replied. Luron laughed. "You were just a weak child with no control. I saved this galaxy by removing your family from power." "You betrayed my people," she said. "You let them suffer while you ruled with fear. You think you're strong now," he said. "You think this human gives you power." Cole raised his weapon. "She gives me strength." Valeri stepped forward. "This ends today." Luron charged first, his armor pulsing with stolen tech. He fired bolts of dark energy. Valeri dodged and blocked with her own shield. The blasts shook the room. They fought hard, power against power. Sparks flew as their strikes clashed. Cole joined in, covering Valeri from the sides and protecting her back. But Luron was strong. He had spent years gathering power. Then Valeri closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered, "Let me be more than what they feared. Let me be what they hoped." A wave of light burst from her body. Her power flowed smoothly, no longer wild, no longer sealed. She moved faster than before, stronger than ever. With one final strike, she shattered Luron's weapon and knocked him to the ground. Luron coughed. You're just a girl." "No," Valeri said. "I am a warrior, and I have a choice." She turned away. Cole stepped forward. "You're not ending him. He'll face justice," she said. "He'll live to see the galaxy rise again, without him." They called for Luron's arrest. Guards arrived and took him into custody. Valeri looked at Cole. "We did it." "No," Cole said, smiling. "You did it." As they left the command ship, the skies above the planet cleared. Luron's forces surrendered. Peace had a chance again. The people waited for Valeri to return. And this time, she would not return as a forgotten princess. She would return as a symbol of strength, hope, and unity. After Luron's capture, Valeri's world began to change. Her people no longer lived in fear. The cities started to rebuild. The skies, once filled with warships, grew peaceful. Valeri traveled across her planet, meeting with leaders and citizens, They welcomed her with open arms. Children looked up at her with wide eyes, hoping to be strong like her one day. Cole stayed by her side, helping where he could. One afternoon, in the training hall, Valeri stood before a group of young warriors. She held a blade, simple but sharp. "Strength," she said, "is not just power. It is courage, kindness, and the will to protect." The students listened carefully. She demonstrated a move, fast, precise, and graceful. Then she invited them to try. As they trained, Valeri thought back to when she was weak and scared. She remembered the human who believed in her. A visitor arrived, the High Council from a nearby star system. They came to see the new warrior of the galaxy. The council leader spoke. "Valeri, your strength has inspired many. We ask you to lead a coalition of worlds against those who still threaten peace." Valeri looked at Cole, then back at the council. "I accept," she said, "but we will fight not just with weapons. We will fight with unity." The council agreed, and Valeri's reputation grew beyond her planet. One night, as she stood under the stars, Cole approached her. "Do you ever miss being just a quiet girl?" Valeri smiled softly. "Sometimes, but that girl taught me to survive." He nodded. "You've become more than anyone expected, and I owe it to you," she said. Cole shook his head. "You found the strength inside. I only helped you see it." Suddenly, a warning alarm sounded. An unknown fleet appeared near the planet, ships unlike any Valeri had seen. Cole raised his rifle. "Looks like our fight isn't over." Valeri clenched her fists. "I'm ready." The galaxy's strongest warrior was ready to face the next challenge. And with her human by her side, she knew she could face anything. The unknown fleet hovered over Valeri's planet, dark and silent. Their ships were bigger, faster, and armed with strange weapons. The galaxy had never seen this kind of threat before. Valeri stood on the command bridge, her eyes scanning the stars. Cole stood beside her, calm but ready. "Who are they?" she asked. Cole shook his head. "No records. We call them the Shadows." The council members whispered nervously. The fate of many worlds now rested on Valeri's shoulders. She took a deep breath. "We will not let fear rule us. We will fight, together." The battle began. Valeri led the fleet, her ships moving like a storm. Her warriors trusted her. Cole commanded the human squadron with steady hands. Energy blasts lit the dark sky. Ships dodged, weaved, and struck back. Valeri's energy flowed through her like a river, guiding every move. In the middle of the fight, a massive enemy ship broke through their defenses and headed straight for the planet's capital. Valeri turned to Cole. "We have to stop it." Without hesitation, they jumped into a small fighter and chased after the enemy. The enemy pilot was skilled, but Valeri's instincts were sharper. She dodged missiles, fired back, and closed the distance. With a burst of power, she unleashed a blast that disabled the enemy ship's engines. Cole cheered. "Nice shot." The enemy ship crashed far from the city, safe from harm. Back with their fleet, the battle raged on. Valeri's strength inspired all. Ships that were about to retreat fought back harder. The unity between species and worlds shone brighter than any weapon. Finally, after hours of fighting, the Shadows withdrew. The galaxy was safe. For now. In the calm after the storm, Valeri stood before the council and the gathered people. "I was once weak and scared," she said, "but with trust, courage, and help from a true friend, I became strong." She looked at Cole. "This human showed me the way. Together, we are more than warriors. We are a family." The crowd cheered. Cole smiled and said quietly, "You didn't need me to be strong. You were always the warrior." Valeri took his hand. "No, it was our strength combined that saved us." From that day, Valeri was not just a princess or a warrior. She was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even the weakest can become the strongest with belief, friendship, and courage. And with her human beside her, The galaxy's future was bright.